The rivalry between the United States and China has become one of the most defining global issues of the 21st century. Their competition stretches from trade to technology and geopolitics, and it shapes the world economy in powerful ways. In this video, we explore how this rivalry began and what it means for Vietnam's trade and development. Over the past 2 decades, US-China relations have shifted from cooperation to deep strategic competition. As China rises under the China Dream vision, while the US works to maintain global leadership, tensions have intensified across economics, technology, and medicine. Because these two countries are the world's largest economies, any change in their policies immediately affects global markets. The trade war officially began in 2018, when the US imposed $50 billion in tariffs on Chinese goods. More than 1,300 Chinese products, including electronics, batteries, and medical devices, faced tariffs as high as 25%. China quickly retaliated with its own tariffs on American soybeans, automobiles, and aircraft. This escalation disrupted global supply chains, raised production costs, and forced companies worldwide to rethink where and how they manufacture. Beyond trade, the technological rivalry is even more intense. The US leads in semiconductor design and advanced software, while China invests heavily to achieve technological self-reliance. In 2022, the US passed the CHIPS and Science Act, restricting China's access to high-end chips and placing companies like YMTC on its blacklist. Together with Japan and the Netherlands, the US tightened export controls on semiconductor equipment, turning AI and chip-making into a battlefield for global power. Geopolitically, the US strengthens alliances across the Indo-Pacific, with Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and ASEAN, to balance China's growing influence. At the same time, China expands its reach through initiatives such as the Belt and Road Initiative, building infrastructure and deepening economic partnerships worldwide. These competing strategies reshape global power dynamics and place smaller countries in a complex position of balancing both sides. For Vietnam, the US-China rivalry brings several important opportunities. When tariffs made Chinese goods more expensive in the US market, many multinational companies began shifting their production from China to Vietnam. As a result, Vietnam attracted over $31.5 billion in FDI by October 2025, mostly in manufacturing. Vietnamese exports such as textiles, furniture, and electronics became more competitive in the US, helping Vietnam climb into the largest exporters to the American market. Additionally, foreign investment brings new technologies, better management practices, and higher labor productivity, helping Vietnam strengthen its position as a regional manufacturing hub. However, the rivalry also creates significant challenges. Firstly, Vietnam faces risks of origin fraud, where some companies attempt to label Chinese products as "made in Vietnam" to avoid US tariffs. Secondly, as China struggles to export to the US, more low-cost Chinese goods enter Vietnam's domestic market, increasing competition for local businesses. Finally, the rapid inflow of FDI puts pressure on infrastructure and the environment. Several industrial parks have violated environmental regulations, showing the serious levels of pollution that can occur without supervision. The US-China rivalry has far-reaching impacts on trade, supply chains, technology. For Vietnam, it offers major opportunities in attracting investment and expanding exports, yet also presents challenges related to environmental sustainability. To thrive in this shifting global landscape, Vietnam must navigate carefully and strategically. In the short term, Vietnam should maintain balanced diplomacy with both the US and China, while diversifying supply chains by strengthening ties with Japan, South Korea, India, and the EU. In the long term, in addition to Vietnam's need to develop a skilled workforce to meet advanced manufacturing needs, it also needs to accelerate investment in green and sustainable technology. Improving environmental oversight and preventing origin fraud are also essential to protect Vietnam's trade reputation. As global competition intensifies, Vietnam stands at a crossroads of opportunity and challenge. By adapting intelligently and building a sustainable economic strategy, Vietnam can strengthen its position and shape a resilient future in the world economy. And finally, thank you for your attention, and thank you for listening.